All right, so I'm gonna try not to make this a long video, but did you guys know that I have daddy issues too? Yeah, I do. So, starting these videos out, the Beauty Speaks, this is my journey into 40. I'll be turning 40 December 16th. If you guys are not aware, I'm recapping. I'm in the middle of a divorce and I'm newly single again. And yeah, that's what's going on. So I am learning myself in a new aspect of my life. Some things that I've had to go back and kind of reevaluate as far as my way of thinking and just everything. So I figure I would start vlogging it or talking about it to you guys, and that hopefully that it just brings encouragement, motivation, not only to myself, but to those of you out there who just, don't have anyone to talk to or speak on this. I'm a very strong-willed woman. I'm a very disciplined woman, but I'm also a softie by heart, by nature. I am a fixer by nature. I want to fix the world. That's just a flaw that, I don't want to call it a flaw, but it can be because it's taken advantage of. And sometimes with my feelings on that, I can be naive with it, not realizing that there are people who are, whether they know they're doing it or not, they're just taking advantage of it. And I want to fix the world. I want to fix people. I want to help people. And I love that about myself, but I'm learning that there's going to be a time where I'm going to have to step back and really recognize if a person is really looking for help from me or if they're just trying to use that and bring me down. But I have been seeing a therapist throughout this whole thing because, and with the exception of talking with really good friends and my mom and family members, and I'm learning some things about myself that hadn't even, come across. And one of the things that I mentioned earlier was about having daddy issues. And I can explain this a little bit different because my daddy issues is not the same as what most people would call daddy issues. Most people equate daddy issues with being a person who doesn't know their father, didn't have a male figure or biological father, in the home. If they did have a father, he was abusive or hard on them, or, really wasn't there for them, emotionally, in any way, financially, just wasn't there. Mine is a little different. My daddy issues is more so that I did have that in my life. Recently talked with my mom, and she, for her, it's hard for her to understand the way I think in some situations, even though I'm her child, is because my mom didn't have her father at all in her life. The male figure was, absent in her life. Whereas with me, it wasn't like that. And it honestly was because I had a great father and I had a great mother who made sure that my father was there because she didn't have, her father in her life. And so with my dad, which I don't talk a lot about my father because he died 8 years ago from cancer. So, it's still like a sting. It's still a heartbreak for me because my dad was there for me. Like, I mean, emotionally, financially, just in all aspects. My dad was there for me in the sense of there are men out there that are great fathers, and one of the things that they tend to do is they can be very hard on their daughters. They can be hard on their sons too if they're there, but they can be hard on their daughters almost to the point where the daughter can feel stifled or like he's just trying to be overprotective and lock her in the room and just that. I didn't have that. My father gave me room to grow. He gave me room to think. He gave me room to learn how to take care of myself, because one of the things that my dad told me that in a sense I'm learning, he meant well, but it has affected how I view things, relationships, and overall me as myself. My dad, he felt that there was not going to be a comparable partner, you know, husband or man for me, that I was going to need to learn how to take care of myself and in a sense be independent. Not, you know, we don't like those words. I don't even like that word, independent. I prefer to be called self-sufficient, because this is what you do when there isn't someone there to take care of you. And that he meant well by that, because in a part, so he's right. It just seems that way, you know. But I recognized what that did, how that shaped how I am and what I do and just how I think. So that is kind of like a daddy issue for me, because in my mind, I almost kind of feel like that in relationships, I'm either a threat, I'm a challenge, or I'm too independent. And to the eyes of a man that's been raised in a society to think that they have to be above women, which is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. They can do these things, but that doesn't mean that I have to be less than or not capable of being submissive or a non-resourceful woman. I mean, I swear the Proverbs 31 woman was a resourceful woman. She was a wife, but she didn't seem like a threat. But it just, unfortunately, those are the words that are constantly told to me by other men. And honestly, that just kind of ruins my hope of marriage. Not that I don't believe that there's somebody out there for me. I know there are. I'm pretty sure there's a few. I know that there are good men out there. However, not every good man is good for me. And even with the men that I come across that I know are good men, I constantly get that same, you know, responses. You're a challenge. I like that. Like, I don't want to be a challenge. I want to be your partner. Because the word challenge to me reminds me of I'm a threat. It reminds me of you're fighting for your masculinity. You're fighting to know more or to think more or to be more educated or to be fighting for what? I'm your partner. I am supposed to be a compliment to you, not a challenge or a threat. So that's where my issues lie. That's my daddy issue. And I mean, I hope I hope I'm explaining it the best way I can, because from what I've learned about daddy issues compared to my particular daddy issues is that girls tend to look for men that have that have what they missed. For me, I look for someone that can be my husband, not my father. I don't want someone like my father. I don't desire that kind of attention because I've had that. I've had it. And we all say the first relationships you have with the opposite sex, just the same thing with men, is men, their relationship and how they view women comes from their mom. And that's the same thing when it comes to women. Their first relationship is whatever first man that, you know, is in their lives. And mine was my father. So I had that. I had someone that not only was there for me emotionally, financially, you know, somebody I could depend on, although he wasn't perfect. But I had that. And I want pieces of that in someone I call my husband. Not someone that I call my husband, but looking for him to fill a void that I didn't have. I had that. And although my father has been gone for 8 years, I'm still seeking that. A partner, someone that doesn't see me as a threat or doesn't see me as a challenge. Something that, challenge just sounds like something you just break down. I don't know. It just sounds, I don't like that. And I've been told that quite often. But my daddy issue is definitely me feeling like there's just in my circle and where I'm at and the environment that I'm in, wherever he is, he's somewhere else that I have no access to, and he has no access to me. And it's reinforcing that issue. It's reinforcing that issue of I'm too much, I'm too this, I'm too threatening, I'm too intimidating, and I'm such a softie. So with this recent divorce and going through this, it's hard because I can't even talk to my ex. I haven't talked to him since he left this house. I can't. One of the things about me is once I cut you off, that's it. I'm done. And I can honestly appreciate, I may not agree with the way our situation panned out and how it happened, but I do understand what he was doing as a friend. That doesn't mean that we can be friends. It just doesn't mean that. I'm too hurt from that. Even though I understand it, it doesn't stop the pain. And it didn't do anything but reinforce my feelings of being too much, too independent, and a threat. So I was really nervous about putting this video out because I knew I was going to cry about it. But it's my pain and it's what I feel. And I know somebody out there probably feels the exact same way I feel. And now I'm starting to feel like it's just hopeless for me. And I'm just saying that because I'm crying and I'm emotional about it right now. But I am learning through talking through therapists and family and friends that I need to stop saying that. And I need to just enjoy the fact that I'm happy right now and just keep building on myself. So even though a part of me thinks building on myself isn't going to do anything but make me more threatening or more independent or more whatever these men are trying to explain to me, but I'm getting through it. So that's my daddy issue. What's your daddy issue? Comment down below and tell me what is it that is an issue for you. Is it the same as mine? Is it different? Is it not having that? Do you recognize it? Because it was hard for me to recognize that because I just assumed, you know, I had my dad. I had him in the way that most people didn't have. I'm assuming, you know, that way. But I've had him that way, and I've had a father. I had a daddy. I had one. And I'm assuming that there's no way I could have this kind of issue or what we call daddy issues. There's no way. But comment down below what's yours. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Love you. Bye.